So, Battle of Shiloh, and this is the army I'm taking. Notice the perks that my officers have. My second corps commander just has a supply. That's it. Um, I have one 2-star general, and he has supply and a pretty useless perk, but that's okay. And you can see I have my batteries are 8 guns, but I'm going to take those to 12 after this. I have a nice 20-pound battery, 24, 10-pound, 6-wired. Basically, I took all the weapons that I have and put them into the army. Um, I don't really have, I could have maybe um, dropped my ammo wagon 10,000 and brought in another infantry unit, but I would have had to have bought guns. I'm out of everything, but I'm taking everything that I have for free. Um, there's a nice 6-pound battery of 10 guns. It's going to get like 1,800 kills, I think. 6-pounders can do the job if they're right on the front line. But if they're just a little bit too far from the front line, they'll do nothing. So the enemy's going to have 51,000. And this is actually a really cool battle. I really like how this goes. The enemy fights hard, is very aggressive. On day 1, you get 14,000. I think you get another 10,000 on day 2. I have a total of 30,000. So I should end up with 40,000, I think, at the end of the... Anyway, I make use of the Allied troops in a way that I never did in previous battles because I never had to. I don't want to take too many losses, and to keep my losses down, I'm going to fight, and the enemy is going to really make me pay, make me fight hard, which is good. I like that. And then the Allied units come in and I make use of them. The Allied reinforcements come in on the first day. There's 2 batches of them, and I make use of both batches. And then I intentionally go to the second day. And yeah, the Allied units then are huge. So the enemy units are coming in at almost 3,000 right away. So right away, I know this is just going to be ugly. We are in a fight, and of course I'm trying to catch everybody that I possibly can in the water. Would love to do damage to his cav. You'll notice these enemy units are 2 stars. That's interesting. That's going to get a lot worse for me as the enemy scales up in training. And the enemy is just going to become really deadly. He's going to go to... By Fredericksburg, he's going to be training level of 73, which is just insane. And the training level really affects how much damage these enemy units do to you. Most of the time, in most campaigns, the enemy's around 50. It's pretty standard. We get used to it. But, man, when that number... And it's really luck of the draw. When that number goes up, the behavior of the enemy army really changes. And we're not seeing it here. We're going to start seeing it. So, okay, his 2 units are being cut down. That's very good. His first unit went back. He's down to under 2,500. The next unit's coming in at 2,900. Fortunately, I have the 20-pounder, and I have the 24-pound howitzer there. And my unit guys are in the woods getting great cover. And I'm pulling out all the stops. I'm trying to get flank shots. I'm trying to hurt this guy as much as I can. So if he comes up at 3,000 and goes back at under 2,500, then he comes up again. I knock him down to 2,000. And my units are still at 1,000. 1,400. I see a unit over there at 1,400. So after all that, we'll still be way behind. But okay, so here comes General Johnson and, yeah, with more troops. So I guess the easy part of this battle is now officially over. Yeah, I really want to wipe out his cav. His cav is a real nuisance. Everybody knows that in this battle. He will always try to sneak a cav unit around and steal a victory. So if you can kill his cav in this battle, that's really good. I'm also trying to conserve my 24 howitzer. The 24-pound howitzer just consumes ammo at a very rapid rate, far faster than any other artillery. And so I'm trying to save it for close range fire. Having it fire at long range is a waste of time, waste of ammo. And I am going to run out of ammo on this flank. I always do, until my ammo wagon can get over here. Unfortunately, it starts quite a distance away. And it's always a very close thing. Everybody gets very low on ammo. So another unit, is that the same? This is a 3-star unit running up at 2,000. I want him to get into the water when I hit him, so I do maximum damage. And I need to hit him with a bunch of stuff, and that's a 3-star. I don't want that guy. Yeah. Okay, this unit charging right now is 2,300, I think. It's a little blurry on my editing screen. My reinforcements came in. That's very good. So yeah, I hope that guy stands there, and yeah, if you hit them with artillery, they're gonna rout. The artillery makes them rout. In some cases, it's better to not hit them with artillery and let them just stand there and bleed for a while. But of course, I'm afraid of being overrun. If he gets all his units up online, charging at the same time, well, you know, this situation becomes impossible. So I'm really hoping that unit isn't a ghost cav. He's not. He backs off. I get a shot on him while he's in the water. Or I should. Yeah, there he goes. That was terrible damage. So everybody's doing really well. But you know how this goes. When we go to the other flank, it's gonna be awful. It's going to be awful. In fact, it is the most horrible deployment I've ever seen. So yeah, everyone has seen impossible deployments of the Union left. Well, you're about to see the most awful deployment on the Union left in all of Ultimate General Civil War history. It's fascinating. It's okay, I'm not happy that that guy got actually into the trees, but fortunately the 24-pound howitzer convinced him that he didn't want to stay there. I was very fortunate. So he's coming up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, 6, if that 6th one decides to come forward. And I only have 4 units. But fortunately, the reinforcements are on the way. And hopefully I can get these guys to stop. Good, one of them already routed, and the rest of them are pretty much standing in the water, except for this one guy in the open. Yeah, I let that unit fall back way too much, but he's already flashing white, and that's absolutely terrific. I really want my artillery to hit these guys who are in the water to maximize their kills. Yeah, I'm pushing this infantry up, because if these guys are going to stand in the water, that's a real opportunity to maximize kills. Yes, 3 units in the water and a 4th unit partially in the water. Oh, and the one on the left, so it's 5 units that are very, very vulnerable to taking fire. So this is going great. 48 minutes to go. Yeah, I might even, let's see, that's like 4 units right there that should pound on this guy who's halfway into the water. This should go really well. And yeah, he's already morale shocked. So he takes some artillery and he takes some infantry fire from 4 units, and yeah, we can do that all day. That's beautiful. So notice how slowly this guy on the left moves uphill. That's great. You want him to charge uphill, exhaust themselves, take shots. You're firing downhill. He's down to 2250. I'd like to get some more shots on this guy. He is considerate enough to stand in the water and let me shoot him with 3 units. That's just very, very considerate of him. I have to make sure his artillery doesn't get flank shots on me. I am, after all, standing in the open. His unit charged right into that open, and 4 of my units, plus detached skirmishers, got to fire on this guy. I'm kind of using the detached skirmishers as if things go really badly. He gets into melee, I want to make sure he retreats in the right direction. That could, that could just destroy my position. If he gets into melee and then charges through my position into the backfield, yeah, then the entire battle is just botched. But by using detached skirmishers, I can make sure he keeps retreating the right way. He's all the way down to 1200. So we need to do that a couple more times and get his numbers down even lower. That's great. Yeah, I'm not happy with exchanging. Well, the guy has part of his unit is in the woods and part is in the water. So I'm imagining that his cover that he has is not that great. Yeah, I'm swapping out my unit that's real. My 55s did a great job, got 1,200 kills or something for almost no losses. But he's almost out of ammo. And I don't want him to run out of ammo. So I'm starting to think about, getting units on the front line that have ammo and having them fight for a while. Because really I have to buy not just 22 minutes, but however long after that it takes me to get an ammo wagon over here. And that becomes the big calculation. So I'm having a great time here, but I know the next phase is going to be ugly. And right now I'm wishing I had more units too in this army. But really I just ran out of money. Okay, he's charging right into the center. And yeah. Now I have 4 units or something firing at him, plus artillery at short range. Now his cav is going to take a hit. Oh, his cav is going to stand there for a while and take some more hits. That's good. Great. He's going to take some artillery, shift the artillery, and make sure that firing at the cav. Now he's in the river, taking even more damage. I mean, this is just gone. This is going great. Already the ammo symbol is flashing. Fighting with that guy who's only firing at 1/3 speed, he's just going to take a lot of casualties, and I need to get him out of there. So I move up to take some shots on the guy who's partially in the water, since he's got very low cover, and he cleverly retreats. That's good. Yeah, I have the 24-pound howitzer. Wait until, yeah, that guy gets a little closer. Now he's morale shocked. And we're going to get some shots on him as he falls back into the water. Wow, the Palmettos already have 1,300 kills. It's crazy. Those numbers. Oh no, the Palmetto only has like 300, I think, if I read that correctly. Good, his cav came up for some more action. Yeah, and by the way, your orders are canceled at every phase transition, and the enemy gets a real buff to charge bonus. They're like completely reset for fanatical charges. So all the damage you did to them with 24-pound howitzers, they completely reset. The 24-pound howitzer takes his enthusiasm to get into melee out of him, whatever that number is. And but it goes back to 100 at every phase transition. So, yeah, my situation is completely hopeless. I have 2 infantry. One is a 42, the other one is a, what is the other one? Um, it's a very tiny unit of something not great, I'm sure. And I have, yeah, just, what do I have? Detached skirmishers or skirmishers and 4 batteries of artillery and 2 cav. And yeah, that's a whole lot of red bar and a very tiny blue bar. And this is ridiculous. So, and he's going to come into this battlefield with, I'm sure, a whole bunch of 3-star units against my no-star units. And I'm not sure how this could be more ridiculous. So the objective is not to get wiped out. Okay, he's got 3,000 men, which is going to square off against my 200 men. And it's a 2-star unit. And my no-star unit with 42s has absolutely no chance. So, and my goal is to get my cav and my artillery out of here. So I'm going to take the vaunted 12-pound howitzer and move it up to put some fire on this guy. Okay, now he is charging uphill, and it's only 1 unit. We can probably win this. 750 men against almost 2,500. Yeah, we can win that. Yeah, and then he charges. Yeah, that's ridiculous. He could have just rolled right over top of my infantry. Yeah, now comes an oversized cav unit. And my undersized cav units are going to have to, put up a brave fight, whatever that looks like. So, fortunately, yeah, he just crushes my small skirmisher unit. I'm going to try to get it back, but I'm looking at the countdown timer, and 19 minutes. Yeah, and his cav unit just actually ran away. So I have to stop his infantry unit for my artillery and cav and little tiny force I have here just to survive. I am perfectly happy for this flag to trip. He's walking up the hill with 3, let's see, 2 2-star units and a 3-star unit. And yeah, they're oversized. And yeah, I have 750 green troops at the top of the hill. So that's not going to go well. Yeah, here comes this cav unit of 1,000 men. I was able to get the detached skirmisher of what's left of it, of like almost 90 guys, I guess. And my reinforcements come here, and yay, it's a skirmisher and artillery. So, yeah. Let's get out of here. So, to my surprise, his infantry is morale shocked, and his cav is just stepping up and taking a few shots. Wants to get into melee with my unit, I guess. I don't know. He should win that, since he started at 1,000 and my unit is tiny. But because of my artillery, he routs. Okay, now the guy has recovered, and he's got another unit coming up. And yeah, saved by the bell. Man. Now, let's get out of here. And I'm looking at this. Now, the position I actually want to occupy, if you take a look at not the flag in the center of the map, but behind that, there's kind of like a line, an L-shaped line. I really want to occupy that L-shaped line. Um, but I also want to fall back to this big clump of woods to the north. On the Union right flank, on the left of the map, I want all those guys to fall back and take up a defensive position. I've always really wanted to do this because I think this is a great defensive line. I think this is a real opportunity to inflict a lot of casualties. I'm just trying to buy time until my reinforcements come in. And I think this is a great defensive line. And I've got nothing in the middle. I mean, there's just nothing. And so I'm thinking, okay, I want to occupy this line, but I'm going to need... there's no way that you kind of see the middle clump of trees. Usually I can put a couple of infantry units in there. I've got nothing near that. So I'm thinking, let's pull back and shorten the line, because the further north you go, the shorter your line is, because the map narrows. So let's fall back to this beautiful wood line, and not the hornet's nest, but just to the left and north of the hornet's nest, and occupy a solid wood line. And the wood line goes east-west from the water in to just north of the objective, and then comes down the map to the south a little bit, and then it's another solid line east-west, pretty much. Where I just kind of drew that blue line, just north of that. So that's a good line. That's good cover there. And my troops on the right can hold that. The problem is the troops on the left. Without my reinforcements, the troops on the left cannot hold. So what I want to do is I want to slow the enemy down as he approaches. Hopefully he gets tired out and he takes time to calculate what he's doing and so on. My unit's out of ammo, my artillery, I get my artillery moving. You see all my artillery is moving to where I want them. And then my infantry is going to fall back. I see people making a mistake. The mistake they make is they have the infantry and the artillery fall back at the same time. That's not what happened historically. What happened was the artillery limbered up and got out of there, and the infantry held. And the reason is, it takes a while for the infantry to limber up and get out of there, and you want to have them get back into their position, and then as the infantry falls back, the artillery is able to give support. So yeah, that's what I want to do. He comes forward, and this mighty little farmer... No, it's not farmers. It's hunter unit. They have hunters. They get chopped down to 70 men, but man, they have a really high melee rating. But I'm going to use them for ballast and to be spotters, a tiny unit to go out and just be spotters in grand battles. I mean, units are good for that, like this. But basically, yeah, he's down to 70. He started at what? I think 110 or something, and now he's down to 70. So yeah, he's just a ballast unit. Let's see, which for a hunter unit is a promotion. So yeah, now if you take a look at the map, he made one charge with his cav, which routed. He did damage to my weakest unit, which I don't really need and could disband, but it's good for ballast, I guess. I would have probably... Well, if it had survived the battle, I would have, given it better weapons or something. I don't know. And then my reinforcements come in. So there was a question if I could hold this line, but now I have these 3 units, and I'm pretty sure I can hold the line. That changes everything. These guys can handle... And you see where I'm putting them. I'm putting them on that expansive wood line, and in front of that is all open area, except for a farm. And then there's a clump of trees as we come south a little bit. And you can see where I'm putting my infantry, where we're going to hold that little bit of woods. We're not going to hold the hornet's nest. That's impossible. Instead, we're going to set up a nice line with supporting artillery fire. I have my long-range guns in the open to the rear, so they do 30% more damage. And they should just be able to sit back there, and any artillery that becomes visible, they should be able to pick it apart. And actually, they do. They do a very good job. My cav, their job primarily is to, if I get into melee, they can charge into melee, and it's pretty much a guaranteed win against any unit because you'll have 2 units against 1. You get the benefit, but cav is really good at that. I need to really get out of here. I can't just drift back to a new line. I have to get back to a new line very quickly because he's pushing on my right, his left. But he's given me some breathing room on my left and given me time to get my reinforcements in. This is what I want. I want the battle to take place close to where my reinforcements are going to come in because I want to wait to launch my counterattack until the reinforcements come in. So this is, I think, the first critical part of the battle where the army gets, I was just lucky in the first phase, I think. Let the AI take the flag, and there's a countdown timer. The map opens up and then you get out. Okay, so I was able to get out. That was, I guess, the first critical part. Pretty much, I've always been able to get out and get the artillery. That's the big thing. Get the artillery out of there. So the artillery got out, and it's in position. My reinforcements came in. My reinforcements are in position. You see I now have 2 infantry and 2 artillery in the first clump of woods. A good unit in the second clump of woods. You'll notice the supply wagons are in place. My units now have ammo. So nobody had to fight out of ammo. I actually have a reserve, a couple units in reserve. Units are going to get filled up with ammo, and he's stepping out into the open to take some shots, which is exactly what I want him to do. I want him to step forward and take some shots while I'm in cover, 75% cover, 74. One of my units has low condition, that's no good. 63% cover. Not bad. Hopefully his guys are in 25% at best. He's charging, but yeah, I can fall back to the next wood line. There's a farm back there. Yeah, I can refuse the right, which means just keep falling back on the right quite a distance. And the whole time he advances, he's going to step into my canister fire. 24-pound howitzer over there. Next to the 24-pound howitzer is the 12 howitzer. And in that little clump of woods next to that is the mighty, mighty 6-pounder. Not the Weird, it's just a 6-pounder and a James. And the 6-pounder is going to get, I think it's over 1,800 kills. So, yeah, the 12H, as you can see where he's placed, he's too far removed to do as well. He does okay. The thing I've noticed about the 12H is anyone who gets hit by the 12 howitzer seems to rout. I don't know why, because the 12 howitzer doesn't do any real damage. But units must walk up to it and think, oh, this could be a 24-pound howitzer. I can't tell. Let's run away. So, because I would run away too if I heard a 24-pound howitzer open up. So, yeah, I see his artillery. So I'm targeting the long-range guns. I have a James, Whitworth, and 20-pound Parrott. And look at those, the numbers start to fall right away. They do a really good job of just picking apart his artillery at range. And this is just Shiloh. The Union artillery is going to become so much better in just a couple of battles. Okay, he steps up into the open, so I'm real interested to see how this works with him stepping up into the open. You can see what the AI will do is he'll calculate, what do I do now? And he took the objective, now he has to figure out what to do next. And it's a computer, so, it has to figure out, okay, what do we do? And so he advanced with the unit, and I was real curious to see how this would work out, and he charges out of the, well, advances pretty quickly out of the hornet's nest. And my guy is at just over 1100. I don't intend for him to stay there, but he's doing a really good job. Now here's the real interesting thing. This guy kind of turns left, and I have all kinds of units firing into his flank. And he takes a shot from the mighty, mighty 6-pounder and flees. So, yeah, that's not the first time, that's not the last time that's going to happen. So my unit's taking amazingly few losses. And as you can see, I'm moving another infantry unit into support, since that's where he's piling up units. And I'm just kind of waiting to see how he's going to play this out. Putting some detached skirmishers a little bit forward into a clump of woods. And I can see his artillery there to the right side of the map, so I can get some visibility on him. I should be checking my long-range artillery, because the long-range artillery just completely forgets what it's supposed to do, like every 15 seconds, you know, even if nothing happens. So, like every 15 seconds, you have to put your cursor over top of them to make sure they're firing at the right unit. But, right now I just saw his artillery number of the battery I targeted just fell. So, yeah, I can see he's being hit. So my unit in the woods is a very good unit. I don't want it to bleed to death, but it's getting a good kill ratio. I mean, it's like already at 1600 and has lost 126. Oh, that's the, yeah. I mean, he's doing real well. So I just moved up an infantry. His guy's shifting to the left. Okay, he's going to charge. That's not bad. The 12th H and there are a couple infantry units there, but he is kind of flanking my my guy who's defending. And I'm going to go ahead and advance some troops on his, because he's not covering his flank. He's exposed his flank to me. So I'm going to see if I can get some cheap shots on his flank and break a couple of his units. Yeah, he's just piling up way too much fire on my guy in the woods. Not happy about that. So I have plenty of skirmishers, detached skirmishers, snipers on my left flank to make sure I don't get flanked. And I'm taking a look at the losses. Yeah, and I'm checking to make sure that guys are targeting the right thing. The 10-pounder is too far back. I thought the enemy would push like straight into my flank, but he's not. So I'm going to move the 10-pounder closer to the front line and closer to the action, which is more toward the center. And you guys know how I like to have artillery that's providing support to the infantry close to the front line. So yeah, his artillery is now down under 200 men. My long-range guns are just doing a great job. Love the Union artillery. Yeah, I can't believe I used to poo-poo the 20-pound Parrot, and it is just the greatest toy on the battlefield. I also love the Whitworth. The Whitworth just sitting back there. You just target the Whitworth. You can put it on a supply dump, a supply center with infinite ammo, and then any artillery you see, you just target it, and then you look back a couple minutes later, and that artillery unit is dead. So it's not like, I mean, you just have to make sure it stays targeted on the right thing, which it does a pretty good job of doing. But if it stays targeted on enemy artillery, when you look at the end of the battle, you'll see like 600, and you realize he just took out like 600 artillery. 600 guys in artillery. That's a lot of guns that just vaporized. And the cool thing about the Whitworth is his artillery units will be destroyed before you get to them with your infantry. So it's pretty much no matter how far away they are, if you can see them, you can hit them. And if you can hit them for any period of time, well, this is a tiny battery, but with a 12-gun battery of Whitworths, it's just a dead battery. I mean, it's just gone. So you just need time. In every grand battle, you have plenty of time. And it just sits back and it just wipes out artillery at range. So he's usually firing Napoleons, maybe 10-pound Parrots, and he's wiping out the 10-pound Parrots before the 10-pound Parrots can open fire. If you're lucky. That's how that works. So he actually has some artillery on his left. It's a bit of a nuisance, but I'm in the woods, so I'm not too worried about it. So yeah, now I'm in the position that I wanted to be all the time. If he advances kind of in the center where there's a whole bunch of water, he should advance and stop in the water, giving him zero cover or close to it. I'm standing on top of the farm right now, so I'm not doing too bad. But this was only useful while he kind of had his flank turned to me. Exchanging shots one-to-one is not profitable. I have no interest in like fighting him or the hornet's nest. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in doing is inflicting damage on him, and I'm buying time for the rest of my reinforcements to come in. So I'm just trying to weaken him for the next day. Now what ends up happening is he keeps pushing up now into this open area. Just about now, I think, he changes kind of his direction. He calculates, I guess, that my right flank is too strong, and he decides to attack the center and left, which is the right decision. That's the weak part of the line. And so this is going to get a little bit interesting, because that's what I've been waiting for him to do. I've been waiting for him to move into that area, because that's the shortest distance to the victory location. If he can push all the way to the victory location, there's not really a lot I can do. And as I'm looking at this, even though my guys are doing a great job, how do I stop this? Look at that red line. I mean, yeah. How do I stop this red bar from just rolling from here to the victory location? And the answer is, I don't think you do. I mean, I'm thinking I trade places with the AI right now. This is a pretty fun victory for the South. I mean, I'd love to play the position the South has right now. So usually in the Battle of Shiloh, I make the decision to stop supplying the... Oh yeah, the artillery unit I targeted is dead. So now I'm targeting another artillery unit because the first one is dead, and now we'll kill the second one, which is just great. And hopefully he's like, they're like Napoleons there or something, or 12 howitzers, which are doing nothing of any use whatsoever. But killing them at range is always a good thing, because eventually we're going to get into short range with those guys. So I'd rather kill them at distance before I have to encounter them at close range. So, okay. And as usual, the enemy sees a detached skirmisher and loses his mind. That's the kind of aggressiveness I expected to see on Legendary. That's a pretty good attack. Not bad. So I attack his isolated units that came forward, and now he sends another unit to attack me. That's good. Good. I mean, that's a good play on his part. Now, technically, my flank is pretty much overwhelmed, so I have to back up to the woods. Now he throws in a third unit. Looks like a fourth unit is coming up. This is a pretty good attack. And as soon as I have an advantage, I go forward and take a shot. And as soon as it's going to be 1-to-1, face-to-face, unit to unit, face-to-face in the open, I fall back to cover. So I advance, take a shot. That gives me an advantage, and then fall back when I have no advantage, and then get an advantage by being in cover. So he's charging with a unit. He has 1 unit morale shocked, so I need to focus on the guy who's coming forward. Need to make sure my artillery is targeting the guy coming forward, but my artillery is a bit too close. Now that he seized all the flank and the open ground, and everybody else needs to fire on this cav, because you know what a nuisance they are. But here's what I found about the cav. The cav really have a horrible time against a whole bunch of detached skirmishers. The detached skirmishers just pick them apart. So now that he's moved to the right, I'm going to advance back into that little clump of trees and take shots on his flank, because now he's turned from facing like left. He from his perspective, he went forward and faced left, and then he went forward and faced right. So I might have a chance to get some flank shots or distract him or something. And sure enough, I change his focus. He attacks, but he's going to go into water. And now I need to fall back, because now he's going to take all kinds of shots and all kinds of artillery, expose his flank. So that unit that just advanced is going to take some hits. Now, unfortunately, he gets some volleys off on my guy. Okay, where the big fight is really taking place, his first unit had enough and is backing out, but he came in with another unit, a second unit, and I can't fall back very far because my artillery is there. I'd like to fall back, well, quite a distance, but I can't. So I hit pause to bring everybody into the battle, because this guy's going to get into melee. So everybody needs to fire into this guy, especially my artillery with canister. Detached skirmishers to the rear supporting. And yeah, now unfortunately, the enemy's going to reset instantly. Okay, and I take a look at the map, and all of my units need to be retargeted, because the enemy wipes everything out that you told your units to do before the reset. So I gave all of my units orders, and then there's the reset, and the AI overwrote all of my orders. So I need to be careful that all of my units are doing what I want them to do. And see, I had my infantry unit fired at the wrong unit. I didn't check that unit. You have to check every single unit. I didn't check that unit to make sure it was firing into the melee. See, now it's firing into the melee. If that unit had fired into the melee first, my unit is morale shocked. The enemy unit would have been morale shocked first. My unit wouldn't have routed. So now he's going to rout. But my position is a little vulnerable. So I get my artillery out of there. I have them rout. Just get out. I don't want to lose the artillery. So my plan now is to fall back to the next wood line. Fold the flank. I have 3 hours and 52 minutes. And now I'm looking at the time, and during the battle, I knew when the reinforcements came in. Looking at the video, I forget what that is. So he charged, my unit on the right, he charged into that unit. So I have to deal with this, and we deal with it. So roll the commander over there, roll a cav over there. He's charging into the center. I don't want to lose the James, so I have the James back out. But the 6-pounder, the 6-pound guns fired canister and broke him, racking up more kills. The deadly, deadly 6-pounder. So I have a bunch of my units fall back. I think I'm going to, form a line, the next line, which is going to be the victory location and everything, looking at the map to the right of that, and then the woods just south of the victory location. Maybe keep the position with the 6-pounder. That'll spread his line out some more, so when the reinforcements come in, we'll roll him up. It's not bad. It's not a bad line, and the reinforcements get to hit him a little earlier. It's not all bad. So I have folded the artillery back and the skirmishers, and I'm preparing to fall back. And I'm even sending the unit of 70 hunters to the rear. They're not going to be able to do anything, but you know, what the heck. And my general is getting my green unit of 42s to recover. My infantry unit is in the farmhouse getting nice cover. And he fires into the infantry unit that was chasing the cav unit for some stupid reason. And there we are. So, yeah, I catch my artillery before it completely routes off the map. That's always good. I hate when that happens. So he's charging again forward, trying to take my 6-pounder out of the battle. Back up my commander, back up, I have the 6-pounder fall back a little bit. That's a little too close. And I didn't notice that he charged right into my, the middle of my line. Like, he was just sitting there the whole time, and finally he charged somebody into my line. Right there. So I'm having the commander roll back to give support to that melee, but that's pretty much, I mean, I've got a friendly unit there and a 24-pound howitzer in support. He would have had to have charged that position with about 3 units. So I stopped the 6-pounder. The 6-pounder can now fire at the guy. Well, I think I've told the 6-pounder to fire. I know I didn't have him retreat out of the woods. So I'm still massively outnumbered. That is the main reason why I love 4 perks in Recon. And I can see exactly what my situation is. I've taken it to 10 perks in Recon a couple of times, but I've never made good use of the additional perks. Maybe other people would find that really useful, but I've just never made good use of it. 4 perks is what I use. 4 perks is what I need to be able to play my best. Some people don't need it. But man, when I look at that bar, that tells the whole story. There's still a whole bunch of guys out there. I am hugely outnumbered. Okay, what's about to happen is I lose a chunk of video at one point. What happens is I roll my cav around to the rear of his army and I find 2 artillery units, which is neat, but he doesn't have much infantry over there. So what I eventually do is I attack on the right. My guy is in the center. They advance. See his commander, where his commander is now, Johnson. I actually advance to that wood line. Now this happens when the reinforcements come in. The reinforcements, his attack fizzles out. He just stands here in the middle, as you're about to see, and he just gets hammered. And this is the part where he starts to bleed to death. So, yeah, I move the cav around. He chases after it with an infantry. Then I just run away. So he gets to spend all his condition for no purpose. He stands in the open with no cover, and my units are doing okay. So I move people back, and my unit that routed recovers enough to come back into the battle. The reinforcements come in, and they just engage him, and he just takes like a huge number of losses. He doesn't really get pushed back very much. He gets pushed back to the hornet's nest, but not off the hornet's nest. But my units are in good cover and just blasting away at this guy. So what happened, what I'm doing here is I don't have anything in medicine. So I think this is a mistake. I don't think you should do this if you have medicine, because that'll reduce the number of troops you get back. But I don't have medicine. So what I'm doing is I'm just topping off my artillery, because if I've lost 25 guys, all I need to do is lose 1 more, I lose a gun. But if I take them back to the full complement, 25 men per gun, I can lose 25 men before I lose a gun, not 1. So yeah, all I do every time there's a camp phase, every single time, I make sure I have officers in all my units. That's the biggest thing. And particularly if I don't have medicine. Yeah, and you can see he only has 10,000 guys. I have 30. Did I just see 30? So anyway, 30,000. He has 10,000. He's done. And what happened was my guys set basically most of the time. Well, at one point I did send my cav behind his line to pester him to death. Um, but really, the reinforcements came in. They just moved forward, and they engaged the enemy. I of course, rolled the artillery up, and my infantry and artillery just blasted away, and he just bled to death because he stood in the open, and my guys, particularly the Allied troops, which by that time I would have had, like 25,000 of them or something, just bled him down to 10,000. And my troops stayed in cover, blasted away. My artillery stayed in cover, blasted away, and just got, continued to rank, just pile up kills. So it was very methodical. It was not like First Bull Run. It was very methodical and very calculated. And we just bled the enemy down to nothing. So 10,000 is basically nothing. I want to get his troops up on the front line. My guys have, if they do anything else, they have really high kill ratios, pretty much all of them. Mostly I want all the goodies that I get out of this battle. And I've got a ton of allied troops, and I already know on Legendary I'm going to make use of my allied troops and get my guys off the front line. He's going to come charging in. I'm going to have the allied troops absorb that charge, and then the allied troops are going to lead the attack. Pretty much standard fare, really. So the beginning of this is pretty interesting as the allied troops are all moved forward. I don't think I used up all my supply in this battle. Going to camp. Usually, you go to camp at Shiloh, you're out of supply. I had supply. And the reason I didn't run out of supply is I found the biggest thing is just have 4 perks in logistics and then fill up your supply wagons and you've got no problems the rest of the game. And the single biggest thing in any level of difficulty is don't run out of ammo. That's just the single biggest thing. And 4 perks in logistics allows you to do that. More perks in logistics just saves you money, I think. So yeah, it's a way to save cash. So Forrest has shown up, and Forrest is probably going to find a much bigger and nastier army than usual. There aren't going to be any gaps anywhere, any opportunities for him to get into any mischief, and he's going to die. So yeah, he's already down to 8,400. This is all going. Yeah, just let my artillery blast away. He actually brought in a supply wagon. I actually have my units fairly well organized by division, and my divisions are together as usual. And yeah, I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing 2 units. So usually he attacks. But there's no reason for me to supply my artillery in this phase, because once we start moving forward, the artillery won't be able to keep up. So what I've done is I've turned my supply wagons, or I think I've turned my supply wagons, to don't give the artillery anything. And yeah. I'm waiting until his attack kind of loses steam, and then I'm going to move the artillery up and blast away at him for a while. And then move forward into the first line of trees, and yeah. So my units all have good condition. I don't think they come in tired from the day before, so I let them rest. Everybody has good condition. You only need one of these objectives, and yeah, 2 hours and 46 minutes against probably what is now 7,500 guys is going to be, yeah, he can't stop this army of 35,000 from just moving forward. It's going to be 2 lines of infantry and a line of artillery support, and so yeah, this is on legendary, and I'm letting my allied troops do almost all the fighting here. And we have plenty of time. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I have 2 lines of infantry. I could actually make 2 lines of infantry of 15,000 each and just, advance the first line for a while till it's tired and then have the second line take over. There's no way he could stop this. He could launch a calculated charge at one point, but that really isn't going to do him a whole lot of good. I mean, there's a bunch of artillery back there. There's a cav for a counterattack. It's not going to work. This is just not going to work out. Yeah, he's even standing close to the ironclads over there. Did he kill? No, he didn't kill one of my ironclads. It looked like it was dead. Um, yeah, the ironclads are firing into him. Yeah, he's down to under 5,000. And he's just being just beaten to death. I mean, by the huge number of allied reinforcements that are just crushing him. So yeah, it looks like his center is completely crushed. He's putting up a resistance on his right, which, who cares? That'll just be a pocket for him to die in. So I'm going to roll up some artillery and blast away at him, and he can just take up a defensive position there. And bonus, it's close to the ironclads. I don't know what they're doing, probably not a great deal, but it can't be good for his morale to be being hit from behind by ironclads. So, yeah. We only need one of these objectives. So, yeah, I'm basically looking for stuff to kill. Yeah, the Allied units are doing a really good job of just putting him in a pocket. Yeah, and I'm watching his numbers just collapse. Yeah, the guys on the right have nothing else to do. They might as well go take one of the objectives. I'll go ahead and take the one on my left, on the right side of the map. Put an infantry unit there. But I think he is, we've got what's left of a tiny pocket. So, yeah, actually, I think my long-range guns can almost wipe that little bit out in the next 51 minutes. What I see happening here is, okay, his infantry's gone, or his cav is gone. His infantry, the question is which way is he going to retreat? Which way is he going to route? I really don't want him to route into the swamp. I want him to, go the other way. I've got a whole bunch of artillery and infantry over there. Yeah, this is going to be over in like just a moment. There's no way he can keep taking this artillery and this infantry fire. So when he gets down to an acceptable range and he's taking fire from all directions, I can charge in, get the 2-unit bonus, and he surrenders. Yeah, when a unit gets beaten to death like that, it's done. So 69, 79, that's great. He had 50,000, just over maybe. So he lost a good number, and so I'm looking at what were his units that did the most damage to me. His artillery didn't do anything, I don't think. My best unit got 3,400 kills. Next unit, there's the 24-pound howitzer, not a surprise. The Lorenz had a great day. 55 got 2,100. The 42 got 1,900. 6-pounder, 1,500 and almost 1,600, just a couple short of 1,600. Great day for the 6-pounder. 42 got 1,500. Yeah, it looks great. The 20-pound Parrot was in the rear the whole time and got almost 1,000. I mean, what's up with that? No, the 20-pound Parrot got 1,400. The Woodworth got 371. It was a tiny battery, and that's 371 artillery. That's probably better part of. He had small batteries, I think. So I got 42s. Yeah, he's going to give me terrible weapons. While his training is going to go up to the sky, the equipment he's going to give me is going to be garbage. So, okay. Very happy to get some 55s and some Harper's Ferries. Thank you very much. I'll take that. We're in very good shape to go forward to the next battle. The next battle, oh man, the next battles are going to be fun. And yeah, again, the only mistake I make is as enemy training goes up, you have to build bigger units. I mean, there's just no way around it. And I forgot that I didn't know about scaling when I did my Major General playthrough, or efficiency of units. And I didn't drop down to 1250 until after Malvern Hill. So my units were actually larger at Malvern Hill on Major General than they were on Legendary by quite a bit. And you have to have larger units, particularly in the beginning when your units are weaker, and if, yeah, I melee, and if the training number goes up, you have to have larger units because you're going to take more casualties, even if no matter what the enemy's armed with. Okay, so I got Grant. He's a 2-star general, but that guy is a better 2-star general. Man, my generals really get command fast. They really level up fast on legendary because you're killing a lot of enemy soldiers. So yeah, I already have two 2-star generals that are better than Grant. So my guy can go away. Those are terrible perks. I don't need supply anymore in a commander. You only need that for Shiloh. What I need is the XP perk, and because XP is really important on legendary, I think. And so I need the XP perk, and I need the infantry perk for my first division without a doubt. So yeah, it's all about the perks. So I'm going to buy all these guns, which is what I do. I'm going to get these guns. Looking forward to that. It was a great battle, and I had a great time. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.